By his energy he brought to the team, just the way his work ethic.
On a crisp November night in Birmingham, Alabama, the final buzzer of a high school basketball game marked more than just a loss on the scoreboard. It foreshadowed a greater tragedy. Among the crowd that gathered to cheer on their teams was 17-year-old Gerald Lomax Jr., a promising student athlete with a future as bright as his ever-present smile. He wasn't there to make trouble. He was there to support his friends. But as the night unfolded, it became clear that his attempt to steer clear of trouble was no match for the storm of violence heading his way. On November 12, 2024, the Woodlawn High School basketball game drew a crowd of students, athletes, and families. It was a typical school sports event meant to foster camaraderie and school pride. The atmosphere, however, became tense as the evening wore on. The game, a face-off between Woodlawn and Jackson-Olin High School, ended without incident, but outside the venue, tension continued brewing among attendees. At around 9:50 p.m., Gerald and a friend were walking back to their car parked near 54th Street and 2nd Avenue North. According to accounts gathered by Gerald's family and authorities, the individuals responsible for the discharges believed Gerald and his friends were part of a group they had been feuding with. While Gerald was not directly involved, he attempted to defuse the situation by urging his friend to just walk away. However, the individuals involved persisted, blocking the pair as they tried to leave the area. Gerald reportedly maintained his composure, steering his friend toward their car and emphasizing the need to avoid escalating the situation. His actions reflected his character, someone who valued peace over conflict and sought to de-escalate volatile situations. Despite his efforts, however, the individuals involved in the argument continued to follow Gerald and his friend as they entered their vehicle. The pair entered, put on their seatbelts, and began to drive away, hoping to leave the tension behind. Unbeknownst to them, their efforts to avoid trouble would not protect them from what came next. As the car pulled away from the scene, an unknown assailant opened fire, riddling the vehicle with discharges. More than 50 were fired, a shocking display of violence in what should have been a quiet residential area. Gerald, seated in the passenger seat, was struck 3 times, once in each arm and once fatally in the back of his head. The driver, initially unaware of the severity of Gerald's injuries, continued toward Woodlawn High School in a desperate bid for help. Arriving at Woodlawn High School, the driver flagged down resource officers stationed there. They quickly responded, finding Gerald unresponsive in the passenger seat. Emergency services were called, and Gerald was rushed to the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hospital. Medical professionals worked tirelessly to save his life. Courtney Brown, the teen's mother, painted a heartbreaking picture of her son's final hours and the profound loss that followed. Brown, a Birmingham native who had relocated to Tennessee in search of a safer environment for her family, received the devastating call later that night. The voice on the other end informed her that her eldest son, affectionately known as GA, had been wounded and was in critical condition. Overwhelmed with disbelief and dread, she immediately rushed to UAB Hospital, arriving around 4 a.m. Upon her arrival, the gravity of the situation became painfully clear. Medical personnel informed Brown that Gerald's injuries were catastrophic, with machines keeping him alive for the sole purpose of allowing family members to say their goodbyes. As a young mother, she struggled to comprehend how the vibrant, ambitious teen she had raised could be lying unresponsive in a hospital bed, his life hanging by a thread. In those final moments, Courtney held her son close, speaking words of love and pride. She told him how proud she was of the person he had become, a kind, hard-working, and driven young man who brought light into the lives of everyone he encountered. She promised him that she would take care of his younger siblings and carry forward his legacy. Brown expressed disbelief that Vio had touched her family despite her efforts to shield her children from such dangers. She had always felt that firearm Vio was creeping closer to home, but never imagined it would claim her son. The mother also recalled that Gerald had expressed an unexplained uneasiness about attending the basketball game that evening. Despite this, he went to support his friends as he often did. Courtney had left the teen in Birmingham with his father so he wouldn't feel alone when she moved. This decision now weighed heavily on her. Gerald's family, devastated and reeling from their reality, made the painful decision. Hey you. Yeah, you. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss out on another video. To remove him from life support later that morning. He was pronounced gone shortly before noon. Gerald Lomax Jr., affectionately known as GA by friends and family, was a senior at Jackson-Olin High School. As a student athlete, he balanced his time between academics, football, and basketball. Known for his quiet demeanor and ever-present smile, Gerald was admired by peers and teachers alike. His coaches and teammates recalled him as a dedicated athlete with a bright future, someone who brought a sense of calm and humor to every interaction.
Gerald was a guy, we saw every day. Was a guy who, we always joked with. He always, he had great personality, smiling, laughing all the time.
He was a friend to all of his teammates on the football team, and that he was a good student.
Anytime something like this happens, loss of a child, it's always serious and a sad situation. I understand the parent, how they feel. I lost a child too at the same age.
A 17-year-old who will never get the chance to graduate high school, or in this case, play football in college like he dreamed of doing.
The loss of Gerald left the high school community in mourning. Crisis management teams were deployed to support grieving students and staff, many of whom struggled to process the tragedy.
A life of so much promise has been stricken down far too soon.
Gerald Lomax Jr. is not just being remembered as a 17-year-old football player at Jackson-Olin High School, but as an outstanding student with so much potential.
He was a young man who cared about others.
Birmingham City Schools Board President Jason Meadows says the school's crisis management team has been speaking to both students and staff following the news of Lomax's passing Wednesday.
Those who are closely connected to Mr. Lomax, they are devastated.
Gerald's teammates, particularly his football peers, were left shocked. They grappled with the loss of someone they saw every day on the field and in the halls, now being gone forever.
He's a guy who's been around. He's a senior, so he's been around for a long time. So for a guy like him to, leave this earth, it definitely was a tragedy. He played a couple different positions. He played receiver, he played defensive end, played safety, played cornerback. So he was pretty much all over the field. He said, "Coach, wherever you put me, Coach, I'm gonna make a play." So I was like, "Hey, go make a play for me." Yeah, just tell him, keep your head up. Just think about the positive. Try not to think about much so the negative. Just keep pushing forward. Live through him. Keep his name alive.
Sounds like he looked up to you. Wanted to be like you. Wanted to go to school, get that football scholarship, and maybe you can go pro, right?
Oh yeah, he definitely challenged me every day. Like, "Coach, I can beat you in a race," or coach, I can line up one-on-one and beat you in one-on-one. And, you know, that was almost every day. He always competed. You know, he always wanted to challenge you in some type of way. Whether it's the weight room, coach, I can lift more than you, you know. So, you know, I'm definitely truly going to miss him. You know, he's the guy who I noticed the first day I walked in here. You know, first day I'm trying to get to know guys and things like that. Obviously, I'm reaching out to the seniors. And he was one of the first guys who I noticed, and you know, by his energy he brought to the team, you know, just the way his work ethic, you know, I mean, it's gonna be sad to see him walk away. You know, you just tired of seeing it, you know, and you know, every day you just try to, you know, impact lives, you know, the most positive way you can, and you know, we gonna continue to do that.
Superintendent Mark Sullivan addressed the community, emphasizing the importance of conflict resolution and urging families to engage with their children to combat the cycle of violence. Local leaders, including Birmingham City Council members, called for unity in fostering a safer environment for the city's youth.
Death of one of our scholar athletes from Jackson-Olin High School. We are saddened and heartbroken by the loss, and we send our love and heartfelt condolences and support to the family. Parents and guardians, I'm asking for your help. Recent acts of senseless violence have no place in our community. We owe it to our children to give them the safest environment possible and the opportunity to enjoy a full life. Parents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, we're all in this together. Please talk to your children. We have excellent counselors in the Birmingham school system to help them with anything that they may be experiencing. We have resources available. We have confidential tip lines and a process to report bullying. We want to help them to learn to navigate conflicts by using resolution skills in hopes that it will avoid the loss of life in our schools and in our city. Violence in our community impacts everyone. Students, we are here for you. We love you, and we encourage you to find a trusted source if you are hurting, angry, or need help. We encourage you to seek help and support. Please know that there are peaceful ways to resolve issues, because once a life is taken, there is no replacement for a grieving family. Again, you're not alone. We are here for you.
After launching their investigation, authorities determined that the altercation stemmed from mistaken identity. Despite appeals to the public for information and a reward being announced, no arrests have been made as of this video. The lack of progress has frustrated many in the community, particularly as Gerald's case became one of several unresolved hommies in 2024. From a shy, reserved child to a standout player on the field, Gerald's football journey was as much about personal growth as it was about athletic accomplishment. Growing up in Birmingham, Gerald's parents recognized his need to build confidence and enrolled him in youth football at Winona. Initially hesitant, he gradually came out of his shell, finding camaraderie and mentorship among his coaches and teammates. Football became more than just a sport for the youngster. It was a way to develop discipline, leadership, and self-assurance. At Jackson-Olin High School, he continued to thrive as a member of the Mustangs football team. Though not the most vocal player, his teammates admired his steady presence, hard work, and infectious smile. Gerald's coach described him as a leader who embodied perseverance and dedication. On the field, Gerald's natural athleticism shone, and off the field, he earned respect for his ability to balance academics, work, and sports. The youngster's dream was to play college football, and he was actively preparing for this next chapter. He spent hours reviewing game footage, refining his skills, and deciding on the position he wanted to pursue. In the week before his passing, Gerald sat with his coach on the steps of the school, excitedly discussing plans for putting together his recruitment tape.
And, I mean, he was a senior. Did he ever tell you about, what he wanted to do when his time he was done?
Oh yeah, just last week, I mean, we were watching film, and And I'm pretty much taking down stats, you know, who has the most tackles and things like that. Like through the first 3-4 games, he had the most tackles on defense. So, and then, you know, we just talking. I said, hey, man, make your highlight tape, you know, just try to find your scholarship, get you at school. He was talking to me what different schools he liked, what position should he go for, and things like that. I mean, we were just sitting on the steps right here talking about that last week. So, you know, and that has been taken away from him, you know, for whatever reason, I don't know. But he was a guy who had his head on the right path, and, you know, he did think bright of his future. Nah, I just want to show his jersey. And said, you know, these guys, hold up. These are guys who, you know, who played with them. These are guys who's on the field with them side by side. So, you know, just wanted to, you know, show some of the guys and let them know, hey, we standing behind them and we appreciate them. And, you know, Gerald always be in our heart.
Have you ever been through anything like this as a player or coach before?
I have as a maybe a player, but not as a coach. You know, as a player, you know, I lost a little ones along the way, with a high school, college, but not so as a coach, someone who you talk to every day, mentoring every day. You know, just looking forward to seeing every day. That I mean, like I said, it hit home. You know, I met his dad, I met, you know, his family members. So I called him this morning. They taking it tough. So. Definitely a situation that we're trying to get through together.
Football for Gerald wasn't just about the game. It was a vehicle for achieving his dream and making his family proud. For Gerald's family, the loss was both deeply personal and a call to action. His mother expressed hopes that her son's legacy would inspire peace and encourage others to resolve conflicts without resorting to violence.
For students at JO, it's not the first time they've faced the loss of one of their own.
It's just devastating. I really don't have the words. We've been in this situation far too many times, as you mentioned here at JO.
Just last year, in 2023, this high school lost 2 students in 2 separate jinx just days apart. 16-year-old Jada White and 17-year-old Caleb Witt.
We all hurt whenever we lose a child.
I would just say to the children that I apologize as an adult, as a leader. I want to provide more solutions so that we don't have to meet under these circumstances. I think it's unfortunate that in our community we become desensitized to these things, and it's normalized gunshots and death and violence, and that's not okay.
I will be following the outcome of this case, and I do hope that progress is made in the near future. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you do not miss out on any future updates. May the family and friends of Gerald Lomax Jr. find solace in the happy memories, and may his soul rest in perpetual peace. Thank you.